Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Stone Hall, and welcome back to another episode of Stone TV. This is New Movie Wednesday, and as you know, these are the days where I'm going to be talking about new, more recent movies that have either come out this year or last year, just new generational type movies. Okay, today we're going to be talking about a movie that when I first saw it, I was actually really excited to see. It was it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. I didn't nitpick it. I didn't because of what I know about the story and how I originally was hoping once the movie was announced that they were going to make this movie, how I was hoping that it would be done. And after seeing the trailer, realizing, okay, this is not what I'm going to be expecting, I didn't go into it feeling like I was going to be seeing what I wanted, but I was hoping not to be disappointed. And for the most part, I was not disappointed. I actually thought it was a good movie. However, after watching it, I have now seen the movie twice. And after watching it again, this movie is very irritating because of what I know it could have been and what I know it's an adaptation of. It is just not. It's just overall, because of that reason, it's not a good movie. Now, it's a good movie to watch, but because of what it's from and what it's derived from and its origin, it's just not a good movie. And I'm just keep it honest with you. So if you haven't figured it out by now, if you're looking at the title, then you already know. But if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm talking about The Flash. Okay, The Flash is a 2023 superhero action movie. It is number 13 in the DCEU, and it's directed by Andy Muschietti and written by Christina Hodson. If I'm saying your name wrong, I don't really give a fuck. But yeah, the movie stars Ezra Miller, Sasha Calle, Carl or Kaylee or whatever the fuck, Michael Shannon, Livingston, Michael Keaton, and a bunch of other people I really don't feel like naming at the moment. Like, honestly, because I just finished watching it like yesterday. So I'm a little fresh on my irritation with this movie. So forgive me if I felt like I'm shitting on this movie. I did enjoy the movie, and there are some parts in this movie that I enjoy, but for the most part, it really pisses me off. So bear with me here. The movie, as I said, is an adaptation of the hit comic book series, The Flashpoint, where it shows Barry Allen, the Flash, for those who don't know, played by Miller, as he travels back in time to prevent his mother's death, which causes a butterfly effect and causes him to get stuck in an alternate timeline with no superpowers and no way to get home. Okay, now, as I said before, I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, okay, especially with me being a huge DC fan, but I did not read the Flashpoint comic, okay? I didn't read it the way I should have. My only knowledge about the Flashpoint only comes from the 2013 movie that they made. That they made in 2013. Not this movie. So my knowledge of the Flashpoint really comes from the cartoon movie that they made back in 2013. So for the sake of this episode, all of my knowledge will be coming from that movie and the live action version. I do plan on reading the Flashpoint comic book at some time. I just haven't. At the time when the comic book came out, there was a lot going on in my life, and I just didn't. At that point, I had stopped reading comic books for a while because there were other things that I was doing, and it kind of just got away from me, so I didn't really get a chance to actually think about it or talk about it. And the first time that I actually heard about the Flashpoint was when I saw the cartoon movie. And even in 2013, I didn't even watch the movie when it came out. I didn't watch the movie until 3 years later, like around 2016 or 17, that I saw the cartoon movie. And so it wasn't, like I said, it was just a lot of shit that was happening. So that kind of just escaped me at the time. So anyway, like I said, for the sake of this episode, I'm going to just be comparing what I saw in the cartoon movie compared to what I saw in the live action movie. And if you're listening to this and you can comment or whatever, let me know if the cartoon movie stacks up to the comic book or not. Because if you've seen the cartoon movie, then you would know the live action version doesn't even come fucking close. So that's just what it is. Anyway, moving on. After helping Batman stop a robbery in Gotham City, where he saves a bunch of babies from falling out of a hospital using his super speed, a scene that I actually thought was pretty cool. I like how they slowed everything down, and I don't care a fuck about the CGI in movies. I don't know why people are always tripping about that shit. I mean, if it's really, really bad, then yeah, but it wasn't really that bad. I've seen worse. So, when he saved all the babies from falling out of the hospital, and he did it with the super speed and the dogs and the whole shit, like, I honestly thought it was really cool. I like the fact that they showed the fact that, his speed is really connected to his hunger. So, like, if he's super hungry, he's not going to move as fast or whatever. So, I like that, this scene where he has to save all these babies from falling out of the thing, and the nurse and the dogs and all the other shit, the way he just did it, the way all that happened, I thought was a really good scene. Thought it was really cool. And the CGI of the Flash running around in super speed, I always wondered how that would look. And honestly, I don't think it looked too bad. I think they actually captured it really well. I think how they brought us along with him during his runs, I thought was really cool. Obviously, if this was more realistic, it would be, I'm sure that the speed would look different, but they showed us from his point of view, and the way it looked, I thought was really cool. The way that they depicted his speed force was really dope. Now, I will say, before watching this movie, I was not a fan of Ezra as the Flash. I thought he was too dorky, too corny. I didn't think, he had too much of a Wally West comedic standpoint, and he almost felt like he was autistic a little bit, which is kind of weird for me. And he was a little annoying, not gonna lie. But after seeing this movie, I actually enjoyed Ezra's performance as the Flash. So, I'll explain that to you as I, go on. Anyway, so he's after saving these babies, while using, his speed force at the hospital and all this other stuff, and he helped Batman stop this robbery, and Wonder Woman ended up showing up, and all this little, it felt like watching a Justice League episode, and it was really cool. It was good to see Wonder Woman show up. She ended up saving Batman and the Flash from this, from something or whatever. I thought it was really cool. Anyway, after he did all that, right, he goes home and he makes a collect call to his dad, who's in prison. While having a phone call with his dad, Barry revisits his childhood home and remembers the time where he and his parents, Nora and Henry, who is his dad, and Nora is his mom, lived happily before Henry's wrongful imprisonment of Nora's murder. For those of you who do not know, Barry's dad, Henry, was framed for the murder of his mom's death, and he is now serving a life sentence that, I think in some versions where he's like, going to be put to death for it. Like he's serving the death penalty or whatever. And, he's in jail for murder, for a crime he didn't commit, right? So, overwhelmed by his emotions, Barry accidentally uses the Speed Force to travel back in time. And although this was not the first time he went back in time, because if you remember, he went back in time in Zack Snyder's Justice League, where he ended up reversing time, where, they ended up killing Steppenwolf and all this other stuff, which, again, I thought was a really dope scene in that movie. Barry immediately calls Bruce and tells him what happened, saying that if he can go back in time, then he can go back and save his mom, right? Because, why else? Why not, right? Now, I want to say I like how in this movie, Barry and Bruce are like friends, and Barry's feeling comfortable enough to call Bruce and tell him about these kind of things. Shows how close they have gotten outside of doing superhero shit. Like, they hang out, they talk or whatever like that, and it's kind of almost like it's almost like DC's version of Iron Man and Spider-Man for Marvel. It's kind of like that, and I can understand that. Barry's like the young, motherfucker of the group. I think he's like the youngest in the Justice League compared to Victor, Cyborg. So I'm assuming that's probably more of what that is, especially considering how Bruce brought the Flash into Justice League. He probably feels responsible for him. So they kind of have this like unintentional father-son relationship, friendship deal. Okay. So, but I think that their friendship is really cool. I like that. Despite Bruce's warnings of an unintended consequence from, time traveling to the past and changing things, Barry decides he's going to go back anyways to the day of his mother's death, and he stops it. Now, as Barry is attempting to run back to the present, he is knocked out of the Speed Force by another speedster and ends up in an alternate timeline in 2013, where not only is his mother alive, but now there are two of him. Okay? There are two of him now. Okay? While 2023 Barry is trying to convince his parents that he is their Barry, he confronts his past self and realizes he's made a mistake. That not only did you make contact with your past self, but you have also arrived on the same day that he originally got his powers. Now, because he's fucking shit up at this point, right? In order to make sure his past self gains his powers so that he can keep his powers, this future him, the two Barrys go to Central City Police Department, where 23 Barry attempts to reenact the events and forces 13 Barry to position himself to be struck by lightning. Now, they both end up accidentally getting struck by lightning, giving 2013 Barry's his superpowers, but inadvertently causing 2023 Barry to lose his own powers in the process. Now, moving forward, I'm just going to be calling these two niggas 23 Barry or 13 Barry. So just keep up with me, okay? As Barry struggles to train 13 Barry on properly using his abilities, they see a broadcast by General Zod, okay? General Zod, who is preparing to invade Earth. Okay, now people remember 2013, Man of Steel came out, and Zod showed up looking for the Codex, looking for Superman, and that whole thing that happened in that movie is what transpired. Apparently, during that time, Barry had gotten his powers at some point, but did not make his debut until, they did, the Justice League or whatever. But he had his powers the entire time. Staying low-key, staying out the way, that kind of thing, right? So, in an effort to fight Zod, 23 Barry attempts to assemble the Justice League. However, because of 23 Barry's actions, in 13 Barry's timeline, there are no Justice League. Okay, Wonder Woman is nowhere to be found. Cyborg has not gained his abilities yet, and Aquaman was never born, apparently. Now, the fact that Wonder Woman and Aquaman are not in this movie is really irritating me because, again, if I compare it to the cartoon movie, this movie should not be the way that it is. Not at all. If you've seen that movie, you would understand what my frustration is. Okay? The cartoon movie depicted a war between the Atlanteans and the Amazons, where it was basically like World War III, where these motherfuckers, it's like the entire planet was at war, and either you're on the Amazonian side or you're on Aquaman's side, and they're fucking shit up. Okay? Superheroes have all been like scattered all over the place. They're either killed or whatever. You got villains and superheroes damn near working on the same side as like a resistance against both sides, trying to destroy both of them so they can get their planet back to order. And you look at that, at the cartoon version, and then you see this shit, and you're like, what the fuck? Where's my war? Right? Instead of getting us an Atlantean versus Amazonian war, they gave us General fucking Zod. Whatever. Okay? Like I said, it's really irritating me, but whatever. Okay? The Barrys travel, they're searching for heroes or whatever like that, and they realize, hey, there's a Bruce Wayne in this timeline. So the Barrys travel to Wayne Manor, hoping to find Bruce. Okay, but instead of the Bruce instead of the Bruce that the 23 Barry knows, they find an alternate older version who is retired. Okay, now this is a part for me, the nostalgia feeling of this shit. I love the fact that they had this nigga Michael Keaton in this movie. I thought it was dope. Okay, them bringing in Tim Burton's Bruce Wayne from the 1989 Batman movie, to me, was fucking fire, because you got to see him doing things that they weren't able to do at the time when his Batman came out. I love the fact that Michael Keaton was in this movie. Now, me personally, I would prefer him to come back in a different capacity, like with the Batman Beyond movie. Him playing the older version of Bruce Wayne, and maybe Robert Pattinson playing the fucking, Batman Beyond. Like, I would love that. Because let's face it, fucking Robert Pattinson as Batman was fucking phenomenal. I don't give a fuck. Twilight, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. He did good. He did great as Batman. I can't wait for number 2. Moving on. But Michael Keaton being in this movie, I thought was really cool. It seemed a little out of place. Not gonna lie, it seemed a little out of place. But I understood that, they called it a fan, it was like, they did it for the fans. Which, again, I am a fan. So I don't give a fuck if you're doing something that I'm going to like for sure. Do that shit. Because it's not too often that I go to a fucking movie and I'm really enjoying what the fuck I'm seeing. So if I get to go to the movie and I see Michael Keaton dressed as fucking Batman, I don't give a fuck. If you did that because I'm going to like it, damn right. Give me some more of that shit. You know what I mean? It's been a long time since DC has made a decent fucking movie. You know what I mean? And with the way that they treated Zack Snyder with his universe, I'm not going to go there. Anyway, Bruce explains the concept of the multiverse, revealing that using time travel to alter history affects both events prior and after the alteration. Okay, basically saying no matter what you do, if you change one thing, what you do in the past will affect its future. Okay, you will change something. Case in point, the butterfly effect. If you do something, something will shift and things will not be the same. Okay? Basically, he said the same shit the other Bruce Wayne told his ass. That if you do this shit, you don't really know what the fuck is going to happen. But he did it anyway. And now this is where he is. So now again, I will say that I like how Tim Burton's Bruce Wayne knows about the multiverse shit. However, I don't like how he knows about it in a sense because back in '89 and the '89 version, they never really showed that much about his intelligence as Bruce Wayne. They only showed Batman's intelligence and his detective skills and all the other stuff. But even though they're the same person, there wasn't much shown as Bruce. So to me, I think it's cool to see him do this shit as Bruce. You know what I mean? But it feels a little out of the ordinary to me that Bruce Wayne would know about the multiverse and all this other shit. And it kind of felt like they just put that in there because they're doing the multiverse story. But they never glanced at the fact that he was even that smart. Not to say he's not smart. I mean, obviously Bruce Wayne is smart. But it's just in that version of him, they never really explained it to me. They never really showed to make it seem like he was that much of a smart motherfucker to where he knows that multiverse travel is possible. And the fact that he doesn't even seem too bothered by the fact that it's two versions of the same nigga sitting in his kitchen, that he's telling him that he has this speed force power and there's the fucking Zod is out there invading and all that shit. It just seems like this Bruce Wayne has been through some shit, right? And he's seen some shit. So he's not really worried about the shit. But it's just like if this is kind of like, because I'm assuming this is probably like the Tim Burton universe. If this is like Tim Burton universe, I'm curious as to why he's not more freaked out than he is. You know what I mean? Or maybe he's just like, he's old, he don't give a fuck, or whatever. But it just seems like, if he is technically the only superhero that, in the Tim Burton universe, he's technically like the only superhero. If he is the only superhero, then, it's kind of one of those things to where, why isn't he more freaked out and why is he so calm and collected, right? It's like they're hiding something that they don't want anybody else to know. Now, while I remember watching this movie and I'm thinking to myself, when they did Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin, supposedly all of those Batman movies are all supposed to be the same motherfucker. Because the same guy who played Alfred is in all four of those movies. So I'm assuming they're playing all the same Bruce Wayne, right? So what my thing is, if they're all playing the same Bruce Wayne, my immediate thought when I seen this was, where the fuck is Robin? Okay, now I'm a Robin fan. So when I saw that, and I saw, it's Michael Keaton and all that, and I know Robin didn't come in until Batman Forever with Val Kilmer and George Clooney. I get that. However, if they are playing the same person, my question is, where is Robin in this? Is he dead? Is he just in Bloodhaven? I mean, like, what's going on here? Because technically, if you really want to get technical, because they're all playing the same Bruce Wayne, that would mean that there is a Robin in the Tim Burton universe, which means Chris O'Donnell's Robin is either alive or dead or something in this Virgin timeline. But there's no mention of a Robin. There's not even any suits of Robin in the Batcave. There's not even anything of Robin in the cave at all. So maybe they're not the same Bruce Wayne, but it's just weird to me that, I don't know. His Batman seems a little out of place, and it seems like they're just like, they kind of, like you said, they kind of just threw it in there, and they wanted to bring him back in some capacity, and this is how they did it. I mean, I get it, but I don't know. When I look at it like this, first thing I was like, what the fuck is Robin? You know what I mean? If he's this old and this decrepit, what the fuck is Robin? You know what I mean? How come Robin ain't helping this nigga sort out his shit? There's no fucking Alfred. There's not even a mention of a fucking Alfred. Like, none of that shit. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, whatever. There's no Lucius Fox. There's nothing. This nigga, like, by himself and shit. It's so weird. But like I said, it is what it is. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to like just like, but it's just like, man, this movie it irritates me, bro. It really does. Anyway, after ultimately convincing Bruce to return as Batman, they set out to help him find Superman. Okay? Now, because like I said, Diana's nowhere to be found. Apparently, Aquaman's not born. Victor doesn't have his powers. And they just found Batman. And they have a Flash. So now they're looking for fucking Superman. Because that's who General Zod is looking for. Superman. Right? So, if you've seen the cartoon movie, you know where this is going. Okay? However, this is not the cartoon movie. This is the live action version. So, in this version, both Barry and Batman use the Bat computer to locate a Kryptonian pod reportedly that has been discovered in Siberia. Okay? Upon arrival, instead of finding Superman, they find Kal-El's cousin instead, Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. Okay? Again, another thing in this movie that makes me fucking mad. Now, I'm not upset that Supergirl is in this movie. I'm just upset that it's not Superman. That's the only problem. That is my only issue. It's not Superman. I like Supergirl, but she was a wasted character in this movie. Period. If they were just going to use her in this capacity, they could have damn well used a fucking scrawnier CGI version of Henry Cavill and kept it fucking pushing. Simple. But no, they didn't. They wanted to bring in fucking Supergirl, and they did it, and whatever. So, anyway, she's trapped in this fucking facility, okay? After rescuing Kara, Barry asked Bruce to help him get his powers back by recreating the original accident that helped him get his powers in the first place, okay? Now, the first two attempts fail, okay? Where he's just sitting there, he's fucking damn near dying from 2 fucking lightning strikes and the whole shit, okay? This prompts Kara to take Barry up into the sky and allow him to get struck by lightning, where he successfully gains his powers back, and and so now there's 2 Flashes, there's a Batman, and there's a Supergirl, right? And they're all gonna join forces to go fight Zod. Okay, Kara and Bruce join the 2 Barrys to go fight Zod's forces and try to save the world. Okay, now during the battle with Zod, okay, Supergirl learned that Zod had intercepted baby Kal-El's escape pod and ends up killing him during an attempt to retrieve the codex needed to repopulate the Kryptonian species. Now, I thought that was a nice little twist. It's overlooked, but I thought that was a nice little look that it showed the savagery of Zod. That he don't give a fuck if you're a kid or not, especially a newborn baby. He gonna do whatever the fuck he got to do, and he killed the fuck out this baby. And I kind of wish I would have saw that, but it is what it is. Zod reveals that the codex was not in Kal-El. Anyway, it was actually inside Kara instead, and while they're battling or whatever, he eventually ends up killing her and takes the codex from her blood. Now, I'm going to go on a little rant here because, again, I have tried my hardest and to not compare these 2 movies, but I just cannot continue on telling you about this shit without expressing to you the cartoon movie that you have to fucking see. Because if this is the movie that you're going off of, this is just not how the Flashpoint is supposed to be, in my opinion. Okay? Now, everything that I told you in the live action version is basically what happened. Some stuff here and there happened, but this is basically, for the most part, what fucking happened. Okay? Now, in the cartoon version, okay, Barry goes back in time. Okay, when he goes back in time, does not have his powers. And when he tried to transform into the Flash, there's a yellow suit inside of his ring instead of a red one. Now, for all those who know, or those who don't know, okay, the yellow suit is belongs to the Reverse Flash, the Flash's enemy. Okay, they have the same abilities or whatever, but this is the evil Flash, so to speak. Okay, he went back in time, changed everything, and he left the suit inside his ring to let him know that he was there. Okay. In this version, he ends up meeting a Batman who is not actually Bruce Wayne. It's actually Thomas Wayne, which is Batman's dad. Instead of Bruce Wayne surviving the killing of his parents, Bruce Wayne is actually the one killed. His dad becomes Batman, and his mom becomes the Joker. Okay, now I'm assuming this is what happened in the comic book as well, because in the cartoon movie, this is what happened. So after trying to convince Thomas Wayne that he is the Flash and he needs his help and all this other stuff, he ends up gaining his powers back. But while all this is happening, a war between Aquaman and Wonder Woman is taking place on the Earth, damn near destroying everything in its wake. The reason why they are fighting is because to establish peace between the two kingdoms, Aquaman and Wonder Woman made peace. However, Aquaman and Wonder Woman had an affair during that time of peace. The Queen Mara, she found out about it, challenged Wonder Woman to a fight where she ultimately lost. Wonder Woman ended up cutting off her head and wears her crown as a trophy. Now, Aquaman, wanting the revenge of Wonder Woman killing his wife, they start this big-ass war, and the planet and everybody in between are casualties of that war. Okay? Now, during this time when all this war is happening, Cyborg is a government agent who works for the president. The president at this time happened to be Obama. So in the cartoon, it's President Obama who is, giving Cyborg orders on what to do. And Cyborg is trying to get these heroes together, but nobody wants to fight in this war. So it's just a whole bunch of shit going on. It is revealed that the Reverse Flash shows up, and Barry thinks that everything that's happening is because of him. But then the Reverse Flash tells him that it has nothing to do with anything that he did. It's really because you went back and you saved your mom, causing a butterfly effect that made everything go to shit. You destroyed the entire planet. And what I mean by destroying the entire planet is Wonder Woman has defeated Aquaman. And in the last attempt of the strength of his life, he set off an atom bomb. Now, atom bomb being the appropriate word because he has kidnapped Captain Atom. Captain Atom is a walking nuclear bomb who he set off, and because his power is so great, the nuclear bomb in which he set off and which he is carrying within his body has the potential to destroy the entire planet. So Aquaman sets the bomb off and destroys everything. Now, in this moment, okay, Barry is seeing that this tidal wave of radiation is rushing towards him, unable to super speed because he got his ass whooped by the Reverse Flash. He sits there, and the Reverse Flash holds him down as they're about to be vaporized. Thomas Wayne, Batman, shoots the Reverse Flash in the head, giving Barry the Flash a time to heal fast enough to run back in time and set everything straight. Now, before he does that, Thomas Wayne gives him a letter telling him, once you reset everything, give this letter to my son, and I will forever be in your debt. As Barry is running through the timeline, he meets his past self, who is running in the timeline to go save his mom. He stops himself from doing so and reverses time and puts it back to the way that it was. Okay, and that's basically how the cartoon movie goes. In the live action version, none of that shit happened. None of it. There are two different Batmans. There's a Supergirl instead of Superman. There's a war by General Zod that we already saw in fucking Man of Steel. Okay, there's no Aquaman. There's no Wonder Woman war. There's no fucking Cyborg. There's nothing. Shit, even in the cartoon version, there was Shazam. Okay, Shazam's not even in the fucking movie. There's no Green Arrow in the fucking movie. Shazam in the cartoon movie gets fucking killed by Wonder Woman after she makes him turn back into a kid. She doesn't kill them as an adult. She makes him turn back into a kid and she guts his ass. And she kills him and then kills all the other kids that was with him. The whole Shazam family. Gone. Savage ass Wonder Woman in that cartoon. If you have not seen it, you need to go watch it. That's all I'm saying. Now, like I said, there were some parts in the live action film that I liked. Okay, I didn't like the fact that Michael Keaton was in this movie. I liked it, but I also had my problems with it. But I enjoyed it, seeing him in action. I actually wouldn't mind seeing another Batman movie, but I want a Batman Beyond movie. It's not that difficult to fucking do. Okay, so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the CGI of him running and, his super speed. I thought that was cool. And then my favorite part about this movie was the ending. When he is pushed out, the speedster who pushes him out of the Speed Force was actually the second Barry that he ends up meeting, the 2013 Barry. 2013 Barry thinks that he can just keep running back in time, preventing the deaths of Batman and Supergirl, as long as he keeps going backwards. But every time he goes back, they end up dying in different ways. They still die. So Barry's telling him you can't keep going back because you're just gonna keep doing the same shit over and over again. So when they're in this timeline, they're in the Speed Force bubble, and he keeps going back and forth in time and all this other shit. It is revealed that the speedster who pushes him out is actually a mutated, monstrous version of the 2013 Barry, who just kept doing it over and over again and got stuck in this loop. And he ended up pushing the Flash out of it so that he can try to help him fix the problem. But he realizes that that's not how you can do it. And as he's running back in time and he's doing all this other shit, this is why I think it's the best part of the movie. Because they start showing the multiverse in different versions. And what I mean is everything in DC's history is what they showed. They highlighted all the key parts. They highlighted Christopher Reeve's Superman universe with the Supergirl that was attached to that universe with the movie. Okay. They showed the Adam West Batman. They showed the George Reeves Batman. Okay. And my favorite part out of the whole thing was they showed Nicolas Cage's Batman, Superman, something that had never been shown, okay, on a movie ever before. That was only shown in a documentary. They showed Nicolas Cage as Superman, and I thought, despite seeing Christopher Reeves as Superman, I thought that was probably the best part of the movie, being able to see Nicolas Cage, Superman, fight this alien spider. I thought was amazing. I thought was fucking fire, and I was like, yeah, I left out of there thinking that fuck, now I want a Nicolas Cage Superman movie. Something we're never gonna fucking get. But even if it's just in CGI, the way that they did it, I'd take it. I don't give a fuck. But I thought that, that those scenes were really good. I do like the emotional ride that was on, because I felt the same emotional impact that I felt watching the cartoon. My mom died, and watching the Flash, go back in time and try to save his mom, to me, felt like something that I would do, or something that anybody who had his powers would probably do. So him doing that, I felt, connected with that. I felt the emotional tie with that, and how hard it was for him to make the decision to have to go back and basically, in this, and somewhat cause his mother's death by allowing the death to take place, was really fucked up. Now, if you know anything about the Flash, the fact that his father was framed for his murder is out of pocket, and it's wrong, because in reality, which they don't show in this movie, which I'm really fucked up about, because the Reverse Flash isn't in this movie either, is that in the cartoon and on the TV show and in the comic books, the Reverse Flash is actually the reason why the Flash mom is killed. He's the reason why she dies. But because he was a kid and he tried to explain that he saw a man in red lightning, in a yellow suit and red lightning, kill his mother and disappear in the blink of an eye, they thought that he was covering up for his dad, and they framed his dad for the murder, and his dad went to jail for murder for life, even though they had no evidence that it was him. Now, I will say this: at the end of the live action movie, again, right, once Barry puts everything back into the way it was, things weren't exactly the way that they were. And what I mean by that is, when he went back to the present, there was a video that exonerated his dad from being framed for murder. So he no longer has to worry about, he's going to be released from prison. He's no longer, it's realized that he did not kill anybody. He didn't kill his mom, and they're going to be releasing him from prison. Now, when Barry walks out of the courthouse and he's greeted by Bruce Wayne, the Bruce Wayne who steps in front of him is not Ben Affleck, nor is it Michael Keaton. It's actually George Clooney. And people who consider George Clooney the worst Batman ever, is actually the one that's now Batman in this new DC universe. Now, whether or not he's going to continue to be Batman moving forward is a different story. But he is Batman at the end of this movie, and that's how it ends. Now, again, because I mentioned this before, where is Robin? If they brought back George Clooney, they have to bring back Batgirl, and they have to bring back Robin. And Robin better not be fucking Robin. He better be fucking Nightwing. And Batgirl, I don't give a fuck. As long as she's still hot, I don't give a shit. But yeah, it's just all these things that just come attached to it. Like, you can't just throw George Clooney Batman in there and overlook Robin and overlook Batgirl. You can't do that. Okay? Say whatever the fuck you want about George Clooney, but he's the only Batman who has had a Batgirl and a Robin in the same fucking movie. Simple. He's the only one to do it. Besides Adam West, he's the only one to fucking do it. So, that's just what it is there. The motherfuckers overlook, oh, there's no Robin. Well, there's no Batgirl either. So, that's just, overall, okay, overall, I think this movie is a good movie. It is a good watch. But just comparing it to the cartoon movie that I saw and that I love so much, it's not a good movie in comparison, but it is a good movie if you have not seen the cartoon movie. It's a good movie. So if this is like your only thing that you like, and you're like, oh, this is like the best Flash movie ever, then you know what I mean? It is what it is. But for me, for a lot of fans, for people who know the true story about Flashpoint, who read the comic books or seen the cartoon movie, or even people who just watch the TV show, period, it's just not, it doesn't live up to what the source material is. But I mean, what movie fucking does? The books are always better than the fucking movie. Shit, you can tell that with fucking Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, whatever kind of fucking movie gets turned that goes from a book to a live action movie, it's never the fucking same. So, I will give this movie, first impression, 5 out of 5. Second impression, I will give this a 3.5, 4, and yeah. So if you are interested in watching this movie, I say, hey, fucking go for it. Watch the movie. It's like I said, it's not a bad movie. It is enjoyable. It is funny. It is action packed. You will enjoy watching it if you have not seen it. However, because I am a DC fan and I'm looking at this movie from a fan, and I'm looking at this movie as to what I know it could have been and what it should have been, my experience watching it the second time was not as good as it was watching it the first time. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, this is it, man. This is my review, man. Like I said, if you ain't seen it, hey, go watch it. If you don't want to watch it, you listen to this and you're like, no, I ain't watching that shit. Hey, you really ain't missing nothing. You know what I mean? But the movie is good, like I said. So, yo, that's all I got, man. Thank you for listening. Peace.